What is good, everybody? For those who aren't familiar with this channel, I am Max, the part-time pit master, and y'all are watching Part-Timers Pit Barbecue. And on this episode, we are doing some pit beef, beef dip, sandwiches. Gonna be cheesy, gonna be delicious. I can't wait. But anyway, first things first. I got my chimney fired up with some lump charcoal. I got my PK here. I have some mesquite wood chunks. Plan is to burn those wood chunks down to coals. I'm going to sear the roast off over top of those coals, then move it indirect over top of some au jus, and I'm going to cook it down until it gets to 135, pull it off, slice it thin, and we're going to build that sandwich. But anyway, enough of me talking. Let's get into it. Hi, y'all. Let's break into the prep on this AAA Angus beef sirloin tip roast from good old Walmart. Not bad quality, if you ask me. Anyway, so we're going to start by removing these strings because I don't like them. And now we're just going to trim it up. We're going to get some of the silver skin off, clean it up, get those big fat pockets off. Now the silver skin on something like this, you're not cooking for super long. It's really not going to render, and it's just going to tighten up. It's going to block the seasoning, and it'll probably give you a bad chew. So, we're just going to get rid of it. So I'm going to work on whittling that away, and then from there, we'll get to dry brining. So yeah. And now it's time to get all this kosher salt over top of this roast. We're going to put a decent amount on. It's a thick roast, and then we're going to set it on a rack in my fridge, uncovered, for a few hours to let it really dry brine. It's going to help it. I'm going to talk about dry brining right now. Hi, y'all. Let's talk dry brine. So I had this piece of meat dry brining for about 3 hours in the fridge on a rack, uncovered. As you can see, look at the color change from previous when we trimmed it and got it salted. All right, so the salt's gonna soak in deep into the meat, flavor it deep in the meat, and it's also gonna help break down and change the components of the meat fibers. It's gonna make it tender. Dry brining is awesome, all right? Not only is salt water soluble, it's one of the only spices that will actually flavor deep within the meat. The rest of the seasonings more are gonna go on the surface and flavor the surface, but to bring the flavor deep, you need the salt. All right, so that's the magic of dry brining. Dry brine your beef. Trust me, it's fire. I mean, dry brine anything. I love dry brining. All right, but anyway, so we're gonna build a rub. I'm gonna show you how I do that. Important, don't put any salt in your rub. All right, you already have all the salt you need on the piece of meat. No salt in your rub. So I'm gonna show you how I build this rub here. We're gonna get this seasoned up. I'm gonna let it chill out before I get it on the pit. All right, but yeah, so let's build that rub. All right, let's build that rub. Here I got 2 different coarsenesses of black pepper. Don't know if coarsenesses is a word, but I'm using it. So here we got some smoked paprika. Then you gotta have the garlic powder right there, granulated that is. And then we're going in with some cayenne and crushed red chili flakes or red pepper flakes. Mix that all up and you got yourself a delicious beef rub. Obviously there's no salt in this rub because we got enough salt with the dry brine. No need to add extra. Then we're gonna season up this roast, so let's get to it. Time to season it up. First, I'm gonna go with a binder. This binder is avocado oil, Worcestershire sauce, and lemon juice. It's thin, it's not pasty. It gives it a nice flavor. You got that acid from the lemon juice there. It all gonna work together, and yeah, something I really like to use on my beef roasts and steaks and whatnot. As you can see, it's runny, it's perfect. The oil's in there. It's really gonna grab the rub, and I believe it adds a little extra, you know what. Here's our rub, so let's get seasoning. We're gonna go super heavy, right? There's no salt in here, so you don't have to worry about over salting it. So we are gonna go heavy, get all sides, get all edges nice and seasoned up. The color is gonna be popping after it sits for a minute, like an hour or two, and just really soaks in. So yeah, now we are going to build up a nice horseradish cream sauce. So we got some sour cream here. Then we're gonna go in with some mayo, Dijon mustard, prepared horseradish, salt, garlic powder, black pepper, and some dry chives. Mix that all up, set it in your fridge so all the flavors can marry. And yeah, we're gonna use that when we do our sandwich. All right, so we're gonna pour these coals in here. Shuffle them around a little bit. Now we're gonna throw these wood chunks right on top. Not the cherries. Roll them down. Might not need this one, so whatever. Okay, so those mesquite chunks have burned down the coals. Now we are going to sear our beef on all sides, and then over here all I have is an au jus packet. Wait, where are you? There you go. Au jus packet, beef broth, some water, beef bouillon base cube, onions and garlic. So that's going to cook down underneath our roast, and yeah, catch the drippings, and then I'll turn that into an au jus, and it's going to be delicious. But let's get this seared before we do it indirect. Okay, so y'all are gonna catch me slipping here. For some reason, I always pull off my roast around 125 and let that carryover happen. For some reason, I had a lapse of judgment and I kept thinking 130. It is what it is. I don't know. I messed up. You know, we can't all be perfect. So it ended up being closer to medium well. But also when we were in the middle there, it was pretty close to medium, and I was pretty happy with it. So let's slice into this roast. As you can see, the outside of this roast looks perfect, looks so good. But then I start to slice into it here and I'm like, you know, your heart stops for a minute, especially because of course I'm filming a YouTube video, right? But anyway, as I got closer to the middle, we got closer to medium, and it wasn't the end of the world. But also, I'm dipping it in hot au jus, so I should have accounted for that. So yeah, I probably should have pulled it off a lot sooner. Anyway, check it out right here. See, you know what? That's not too bad right there. I'm not too mad about that. But yeah, we're gonna play around with our meat a little bit, and then we're gonna build that sandwich. So let's build that sandwich. Let's build this sandwich. I got some French bread here that I lightly toasted, and I'm gonna, cause I didn't want it too crispy. I wanted it to sop up some of that juice. So we're going with that delicious creamy horseradish cream sauce. And then we're gonna go with some provolone cheese. And here's my crappy little torch that I'm gonna try to pre-melt some of this cheese a little bit there. Now I'm gonna take a nice big chunk of this sliced roast. We're dipping it in that au jus where I strained out the onions and the garlic and cooked it down a bit, so that is just pure flavor. And we're gonna pile this nice and high. All right, getting all the little bits in there. I think it needs a little bit more, so I'm gonna grab it. All right, tip it in, put it over top, and then we're gonna throw some more of that horseradish cream sauce on the bottom bun there, or piece of bread. And then we're gonna flip it over, slice it down the middle, get that cross action slice going, and yeah, dig in, because this is delicious. I love beef dip sandwiches. You get that little bit of that smokiness, you got that drippings from the au jus, the cheese, the creamy horseradish sauce. It's just, all in all, it's a delicious bite. But anyway, slice it up, take a look. Thank y'all for coming along on this journey, and I'll see you on the next one.